the reel-to-reel picture show. And now here's our host, Pat Fuller.
Our show offers you something that no other shopping show has to offer. Let me say that one more time.
You wanted to give your prizes here and that you were here for that great cause of anti-bullying. And there's no way that I can stand here and take all of that from you.
Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Game Show Garbage. I am Robert Seidelman. Since it's almost Thanksgiving, I figured it's time to take a look at a real turkey given to us by one of the best game show producers of all time. That producer, Mark Goodson. When people talk about great game shows, Mark Goodson is usually the man behind them. While Winner Take All was his first show on TV, What's My Line was the show that put him on the map. Thanks to the runaway success of that show, he pioneered a whole genre of television with such great 50s and 60s hits as Beat the Clock, I've Got a Secret, To Tell the Truth, Password, among others. The 70s also saw some great hits of his come alive in revivals of Match Game and The Price is Right, and new shows such as Family Feud and Card Sharks, among others. But along with great successes, you're also expected to have some failures, and Mark Goodson really never had any shows that you could describe as outright bad. Sure, there was What's Going On that he had in 1954, but the problem with that show was mainly it was too ahead of its time, probably 20 years ahead of its time thanks to camera technology back then, and it was yet another panel show when he had about 6 or 7 of them on the air already. But this show, ooh, have we got a turkey for you! You take one of my least favorite genres of game shows, and that's the ESP game show. You give it a host that was not of his picking, who's of the network's picking, a bad format, a tired, boring show, and what you have is a great reason why game shows revolving around ESP S-U-C-K-S. It's time to talk about Mindreaders.
Are you a mind reader, yes or no? Will Brett Summers say yes? Did Bill Daly say no? We'll find out as we play a game of Hunch and ESP Mind Readers. And now, here's the star of Mind Readers, Dick Martin.
Welcome to Mind Readers, and Johnny Olson, we missed you last week.
Mindreaders is one of those ESP shows that seemed to be the trend in the 70s, but this one had a Battle of the Sexes tinge to it. Goody, another one. A team of 4 men and a team of 4 women squared off to see who had the better ESP connection to win cash. That's basically the gist of the game. And to be frank, the game is about as flimsy as it gets. Sure, Goodson's games were easy to follow, but at least they had some meat to it. This was about as tissue thin as it could get for his games. Then we get to the host and Dick Martin. I can't blame Goodson for this since he didn't have any say in the hiring of him. Instead, we get to blame NBC because this was their pick to host because he thought his stardom from Laugh-In would help bring in more viewers. And what we got was a host that looked lost. Dick had been around Match Game long enough to learn through osmosis to study Gene doing a lighthearted show, which showed well when he hosted The Cheap Show. During that show, he seemed to be somewhat energetic and tickled about doing a show that was a total parody of a game show, so it fit his comedic prowess well. But Dick seemed to be doing this at a 4-10 momentum factor, mainly because he was under an NBC contract at the time. Dick isn't a game show host, and he basically admitted to as much. This leads me to a story that I have about Dick Martin. I remember a week of Match Game back in 1979 when he was on the panel along with Peter Marshall. Peter had just given this great gag line, and the audience was rolling. Dick Martin pretty much said he was a great game show host. Everybody agreed. But the gag line was, hey, he could even do Mind Readers. Peter, Dick, Gene, the rest of the panel, and the audience were in hysterics. That's because everybody knew the show was garbage, and Dick acted appropriately when he was doing the show. Hey, can't blame him. I would too if I was hosting that pile of crap. And now let's talk about the gameplay. Dick Martin asks one team a question and gives them 2 possible answers, sometimes either yes or no, or another either-or style. After the contestants get their answers, the celebrity has to predict what they said. After a long, drawn-out explanation of the guest from the celeb, we get another long, drawn-out explanation of the answer from the contestant. I could guess... I could time each guess and answer, and it would come out to about a minute. A correct prediction nets $50. While a wrong answer allows the other team's celebrity captain to predict their remaining teammates' answers correctly and steal the money.
Robert? Robert? Robert?
Ah! Power surge! What?
Your review, you fell asleep.
Oh. Well, it's bland and boring anyways. Am I done?
No.
Fine.
Come on.
Alright. Crap. Alright. That's bonus game. Now, do it. Sorry. Anyway, first team to reach $300 wins the game and plays the bonus game with the first half called Judge the Jury, a name that makes absolutely no sense. In the first half, each member of the winning team is asked a question and has to predict how many people in the jury, also known as the only audience members not being able to see the high rollers they beat the same day and instead had to watch this show, said yes to a question. If they guess correctly, they earn $500 for the team. If they are 2 away, then it's $200. At least this only takes about 2 minutes to get through, which means it's already faster than one round of the front game. So that alone makes it the only good part of the show. Which is basically why Mark Goodson saw fit to use this as the second card game for the Bob Eubanks version of Card Sharks. Honestly, it fit much better there than it did on Mindreaders anyways. Then we flip the script from the front game, so we're back to boredom. Yay. This time around, the contestants are asked one question and must predict what the celebrity said. If the team could accurately predict what the celebrity said, they had their winnings multiplied by 10. Meaning if they had won $700 and judged the audience, jury, they won $7,000. Teams stayed on for about 3 games, then they all leave and are replaced by 2 other teams who couldn't get on Password Plus or Card Sharks. And honestly, that's Mindreaders. It's boring and it was a great cure for insomnia. Heck, even better than NyQuil. It's boring, tedious, drawn out, and feels more like schedule filler than a show that felt like it had a purpose. The only reason that Goodson pitched this to NBC was that it went so well with the staffers, leading to some hilarious moments when they were doing run-throughs. That same logic helped cultivate one of the biggest bombs in television history in Jackie Gleason's You're in the Picture. And to be frank, it worked just as well as that show did. Apparently, Goodson agreed with the consensus of the viewers, since the show hasn't seen the light of day after its original run, making it one of the few Goodson Timeman shows to never have been reran on GSN in any capacity, not even on a weekend showcase or a turkey special. I wouldn't be surprised if NBC destroyed the tapes. If that's the case, then they did the world a service since the show has absolutely no reason to exist. And that basically ends it for this edition of Game Show Garbage. For the next one, I'm going to go back to Induction number 1 for some inspiration. Until then, goodbye. Gobble gobble!